In this video, I will rank every single person that faced Ramen Sukuna in the Shinjuku. I will rank people by their performance in the direct confrontation against Sukuna, meaning that I won't take into consideration how individuals showed themselves during the training months or helped with some organizational troubles outside of the battle. And so, starting from the least to the most impact. You might be surprised, but Miwa, she did actually appear in the battle against Sukuna, and a seemingly weak Miwa that has no reverse curse technique and she can't even swing her sword anymore due to the binding vow she took upon herself in Shibuya. Regardless of that, she did actually manage to become useful once and for all. This useless Miwa has managed to jump right into the malevolent shrine to defend Maki with her simple domain. So if not for Miwa, Maki would have probably either died or been heavily injured. So Goat Miwa saved Maki. But however, when I think about it a little bit more, after that Maki has never returned back to fight Sukuna. So I guess in terms of contributing to defeat Sukuna, Miwa is sadly still useless. Sorry Miwa. Next, Mei Mei. She did practically nothing, as she has never appeared in the front lines. And I mean, she is not the type of person that would risk her own life for the greater good, but she did distract the King of Curses with the Bird Strike, which somewhat helped Higuruma to open his domain. Next, Toge Inumaki. He is not a fighter and was not present during the Sukuna's fight, but his one moment was when he remotely casted English or Spanish and gave an opening for Yuta to cast a Hollow Purple. Next, Takuma Ino. Even though I kind of like him, but Ino is a type of character that is meant to be a second-grade weakling. No offense to Ino. Ino's main impact was in jumping on the Sukuna and then getting tossed around, which he has managed to accomplish multiple times. But despite that, not only did he not die like a fodder, but he's shown to be able to tank a couple of attacks from the King of Curses himself. And Ino's biggest moment in the fight was when Yuji was going with a barrage of the black flashes, and Sukuna was about to break Yuji's incredible streak. But in the best possible moment, Ino has managed to toss an enemy's blade right into the Sukuna's face, giving an opening for Yuji to strike the King of Curses with an absolutely devious black flash. With that attack, Ino has managed to catch Sukuna completely off guarded, since the King of Curses was sure that Ino was already knocked out. So mad respect to Ino for going plus ultra there. Next, Kashimo. Not going to lie, the biggest fucking disappointment. I mean, I guess he did manage to force Sukuna into resuming his transformation. We can give him that much. But besides that, he didn't land a single attack on the incarnated form of Sukuna. And honestly, he might be placed even lower than Ino. It just depends on how important you think was forcing Sukuna into this full incarnation. Like, if you think that upon meeting Yuji and Higuruma, Sukuna would have forced to incarnate anyways, then that means that Kashimo is literally useless and has dealt no impact whatsoever. But if you think that Miguna could have still kept on going and Kashimo has forced him to use his emergency aid kit, then there we have his placement in the list of usefulness, still being kind of at the bottom. Next, Miguel and Lar. They were able to buy some time before Maki and Yuji could recover and continue fighting. They also saved Ui, which is one of the crucial teammates of the good guys team. And, albeit against a very weakened Sukuna, but Miguel showed a great level of the physical prowess, able to actually dodge Sukuna's slashes and buy some more time. They didn't damage Sukuna at all though, even while facing him in a very weakened state. But Lar did manage to grab Sukuna's heart to create an opening for Itadori's devastating soul-splitting Black Flash. Next, Kusakabe. Not only he was the one who saved Higuruma when Higuruma mistakenly took a round of dismantles after his domain was completed. Kusakabe was one of the minority of people who was able to face against the King of Curses completely alone. When everyone else being knocked out, Kusakabe was the one who bought time before the reinforcements could have come. And in his fight, not only did he manage to dodge Sukuna's dismantles, but Kusakabe has managed to even deal some damage to the King of Curses with his broken simple domain. So for that incredible solo performance, Kusakabe deserves the spot. Next, Angel. She didn't do anything fight-wise, but her technique is just way too broken. Even after Gege has nerfed Angel, her Jacob's Ladder that she casted when Todo teleported her, the damage that it dealt is significant. So Jacob's Ladder, aka Angel, deserves the spot. Next, Hakari. He hasn't done anything in the fight against Ramen Sukuna, but what he did is took out a very strong opponent, Uraume. Uraume was being called a monster by Kusakabe, and honestly her vast ice attacks could have been really painful to face for the main cast. We've seen what she's capable of when she faced Satoru Gojo, not much. But that is Satoru Gojo we're talking about. When Uraume faced literally everyone else, she dominated the battlefield. That's why I rank Hakari this high. I have only one question though. What the fuck are they two doing for all this time? Next, Choso. A beloved character for many people, but Choso showed himself much worse than Kusakabe fight-wise. Every single attempt of Choso trying to attack Sukuna has been brushed off easily by the King of Curses. But where Choso has actually shined was a support role towards Yuji. Choso was the one who helped Yuji to heal himself after Yuta's domain was broken. But realistically, I'm placing Choso this high for his performance during the Malevolent Shrine, where he was able to defend his brother from Sukuna's all-destructive Fuga arrow. Choso has defended not only his little brother, by defending Yuji he also protected their main damage dealer, which has these broken soul-splitting attacks that are irreplaceable in defeating Sukuna. What I'm meaning to say is that Yuji is the main key of Sukuna's defeat. That's why I rank Choso this high. Next, Ui and Shoko. I've placed them together since they operate as a team, and their team has managed to save Yuta after he got cut in half by Sukuna. Ui instant teleportation clutched the dying Yuta straight to the healer, Shoko Yeri, and by that time she has already stitched and prepared the dead Gojo body for Yuta. So again, thanks for them too, dying Yuta was able to hop into Gojo's body for the round 2. And we know for a fact that Yuta's round 2 in the Gojo's body did contribute a lot for the victory. I will talk more about Yuta Gojo when we'll come to Yuta. Next, Higuruma. He's also one of the minority of people who were able to face Sukuna one-on-one, because he managed to push himself plus Ultra and learn the domain amplification and RCT on the fly. So, standing your ground in a one-on-one face-off against the King of Curses himself is already an achievement, but he also was the one who confiscated Kamutoke from Sukuna. Actually, to be fair and honest, Kamutoke confiscation was such a bullshit moment, and I will stand on that. Let's be real, Sukuna has received Kamutoke as a plot armor device that would counter Higuruma's broken confiscation domain. It was unfair that Higuruma could not confiscate Sukuna's shrine technique. But anyways, even if we are playing by the rules, Kamutoke is still a whole nother broken cursed technique that could have been in the Sukuna stock. So, Kamutoke. Its ability shoots huge blasts of lightning with just a wave of a hand. It's a special great cursed weapon that has ranged AoE attacks. And thanks to Higuruma, nobody would have to face that. I will rank Higuruma high because of that. Next, Nobara. I was about to post this video, but then the chapter 267 has been published, and guess what? Nobara is back! Whatever you can think about this plot twist, but her resonance allowed for the last hit on the Sukuna, and the resonance itself is a soul damage, so it's even more effective versus a body-hopping King of Curses. Nobara's contribution was crucial, and the timing was perfect. Though, she didn't appear in the battlefield at all, and you can argue about that, but because of that, it's hard for me to rate Nobara higher than the next person in the list. Next, Maki. Maki has pierced Sukuna's heart with a soul split katana, and unlike Kashimo, she evaded the world split dismantle, and easily so. Maki, she was the one who faced Sukuna alone one-on-one and much more confidently than anybody else. So Maki has managed to successfully brawl with the King of Curses, until she took a black flash from Sukuna, that is. But even after eating a black flash, she swiftly came back into the fight, cutting off one of the Sukuna's arms, which prevented him from casting the World Split Dismantle. So then in Maki, she contributed a lot for the victory, you can't deny that, and I've put her high in the list. But being frankly honest, I wish that we would have had like one more chapter of just straight raw hands between Maki and the King of Curses. But regardless, Maki has done a lot and deserves a high spot in the contribution list. Next, Todo. A man amongst men, and his Boogie Woogie 2.0 is just absolutely broken. The amount of assistance to Yuji that Todo has managed to pull off with his Boogie Woogie is just immeasurable. And Todo's 540,000 of IQ CPU has managed to outplay even the King of Curses himself. Then he managed to activate Boogie Woogie even when Sukuna broke his Vibra Slap, which has led to Yuji dealing such a devastating punch to the Sukuna that he literally puked his fingers out. And of course, Todo was the one who teleported Angel into a perfect Jacob's ladder. And also, Todo was the one who saved everyone from the Fuga arrow. Which sadly I can't say that it helped with defeating Sukuna, as nobody has yet showed up back to the fight. Next, Yuta. Yuta is one of the main attacking forces against Sukuna, no doubt about that. And I'm not even going to mention things like damaging Sukuna with his normal techniques or ripping Sukuna's tongue off, preventing him from casting the World Split Dismantle. Let's get straight to the main things. Yuta was the one who casted a maximum output Jacob's Ladder, the King of Curses. And together with Yuji's Soul Punch, it could have been already enough to win the fight, if not for Megumi being awfully devastated there. And I'm not judging Megumi though, I can understand the guy being mentally destroyed, because his sister died, his only parental figure died, which all has been done by his own hands in a way, and then there's this buff of evilness that he's been sunk to. You can understand the guy being depressed. But getting back on track, Yuta, sacrificing his own life, has set up a perfect backstab plan for Maki, giving her an opportunity to pierce Sukuna's heart. So it's already enough to give respect to Yuta, but even then, my boy decided to cast away his humanity, hopping into his dead teacher's body in order to just win the battle. And of course, it was not the same. Gojo Yuta was never as broken as Gojo used to be, but he saved Yuji and Todo from the incoming malevolent shrine as Sukuna was about to use his domain to kill them both. Then, Gojo Yuta has also managed to hit Sukuna with an almost point-blank hollow purple. And even after his domain was destroyed, Yuta, with his controller being disconnected, he kept the domain shards active, so Todo could use them as objects for his boogie-woogie swapping technique. So Yuta has contributed tremendously for the victory against Sukuna. Next, Yuji, the main character and the main fighting force of the Sorcerer's team, the main DPS against the Sukuna. Thanks to Yuji, Sukuna has never fully healed himself, as he would have if not for Yuji's soul-seizing punches. With these punches, Yuji has basically destroyed the gap between the Sukuna and Megumi souls. Yuji's version of Sukuna's technique has transformed these mantles into a soul-cutting attacks. So every time Yuji has connected his attack onto the King of Curses, it dropped his connection with Megumi's body, lowering Sukuna's cursed energy output every single time, which was postponing the point where the King of Curses could have used his RCT or domain expansion. Also, don't forget the 9 black flashes that Yuji has performed during the fight. So I say that Yuji, he just gave everything and even more in the battle against his arch nemesis. And now, he just used the domain expansion, which I am 99% sure that it will deal the last blow to the Sukuna. But in terms of contribution to the victory, the only one who has been more useful against the Ramen Sukuna than everybody else is the Gojo himself. He faced Sukuna with a freaking Mahoraga and Agito and Ten Shadows technique and still got close to the victory. Gojo has dealt a ton of unhealable damage and also trashed the Ten Shadows technique and sealed the domain expansion. If not for Gojo, just imagine what would have happened if our allied forces just attacked Sukuna. So imagine this. Our allied forces gang up to attack Sukuna. They all jump at him and Sukuna activates his domain expansion. And the manga is over. They would have had no answer against the malevolent shrine. So that's why, unsurprisingly, Gojo was by far the most useful in the war against the King of Curses.